Watching Midtown empty out and a kiss of farewell. They say we come from nothing and to nothing we'll return. And in between is gravity and bridges left to burn.
Hello guys, just testing the sound here. I see that we've got some people stumbling in already. Let me know how I sound and let me know if you can see my screen there. Hello, hello. I see Jamie Hodge, QuantBot. Sound good? That's good. Okay guys, so I think we are good to go and everything looks to be live, and I see some people stumbling in here. So if you are new and you don't know what the stream is, or if you're just stumbling in, essentially we had, before we did our Q&As and our kind of instructional webinars and tech support webinars, GoToMeeting, and recently we've switched doing that live. So you can bookmark this page and you can know that basically every day at this time, so 12 to 1 Eastern, we're going to be hanging out here and having, basically we're just going to shoot the shit. We're going to talk a little bit about the markets. We're going to hang out a bit. We're going to ask and answer any questions that you guys have about trade ideas, trading, this kind of thing. So it's more of a free and open content. So if you are looking to learn the system and learn how everything works, then there are recorded webinars for that. And if you need them, you can just ask anywhere in support and we will send those off to you. And then once you're done watching those, you can come back here and ask any questions that you've kind of stumbled across along the way. So either to the right of your screen or right below it, there will be a chat box and you can just type it whatever you want to know and we'll answer that. So I'm going to be flopped between a few layouts that I have here. I've got one that is the web version here, which I'm using more and more as a Mac user. And then over here to my kind of live screen, where this is a Amazon Web Cloud service of the downloaded version. So we'll just kind of be popping back and forth based off what we see is happening. So I think the first thing that I was going to go through is just the Holly trades of today and how I take a look at them and how I look to both day and swing trade them. A little bit about me, that's just kind of how I trade, where I am mostly a swing trader, I would say now, but a bit of a day trader as well. So just taking a look at kind of what happened today. I actually got distracted there for a second because BXRX actually just triggered. So this is kind of what I was talking about, how I trade them personally, where I saw that there was an entry here in BXRX right up here where this kind of blue box is that shows where our AI called an entry at 974, but I missed that. I think I was out walking the dog. So what I did is I noticed that it kind of bounced off, say, this 920 area a few times. So you can right click on your chart if you have a level of interest. Let me just get rid of this. And then I'll do that again, where you can just right click and say create price alert. And we'll create a price alert for a short under this area. Let me do that again. Short here. Of course, being on the new version, I'm going to get the bugs. Just one second. So anyway, that will alert you for when a stock reaches a certain level. And that's kind of what I do with the AI here, where I take a look. You can see I'm watching this EBS, which triggered as a long here in on our regular AI. Came up and tried to retake the $70 area and pulled back. So I want to be alerted again if this thing gets near $70, because it might get one of those kind of late day type of rallies. Something new that is on the beta version of the web version for our web version people is to keep an eye out on new additions, because this is actually going to go live soon, but we've added the news column to our single stock window in the downloaded version, I think a week or two ago, and now we are adding it to the web version, so you can take a look. And if you want to go through and see what's going on with this particular stock and why it's getting this nice pop out of this kind of sideways base that's been happening here, you can just click on the news tab. You can just go in, and if you click on any of these, it will actually bring up that website, which is kind of neat. So it looks like this was earnings, I guess, that happened in through here, which makes sense. I guess our earnings date says February right here. Okay, so we got some questions rolling in, which is good. And what I'll do is I'll answer the questions as I see them and just, talk about the market when I don't. So the first one is, I have an Interactive Brokers and TI account. Where do I go to connect the AI Holly? So you've bought TI and Brokerage Plus, and you're going to go through and connect Holly to that. For that, let me get over to my other screen here, and let me actually just take a look. So you should see Brokerage Plus that kind of looks like the screen that you're seeing here. Move this over because I'll need this. And first of all, get connected to Brokerage Plus via Interactive Brokers. You can see that there. So step one, if you're already past that, let me know. But if not, just download Trader Workstation, go through the process to connect the two, and I can give you a video for that as well. When it comes to actually trading the AI, you'll just open up this tab, and if this tab's not open, just go under New and Holly AI tab. And then you can see all of the different strategies that are here. If you want to select all of them, just click at the top and drag down and select all of them. If you just want to highlight a few, I know there's some people, myself included, for example, I usually only trade these 4 strategies that happen in Neo. You can do that as well. But once you have everything highlighted, you can just right click and you'll see some options here for long and short trading instructions. So you can click on the long and then you can see however you would like to set these up. So we'll just quickly go through this menu with the top part here being which account you want them pointed to. You know, if you've got different accounts, maybe a retirement account, or you have our simulator open, you can have some things pointed to the simulator and some things pointed to live. From there, you go to which AI mode you want to trade in. So conservative mode means you basically take the trailing stop-esque algorithms that we built into Holly. So you want her to buy, and then if she turns around, doesn't think it's a good trade anymore, you want her to get out. Moderate basically just means you want to take the trade as it is with the stop as it was, and then you're going to hold it till the end of the day and manage them yourself. I actually generally trade in moderate mode, but I was just a bit busy today. I had a lot of things going on, so I put it into conservative for that. But I honestly suggest moderate just because it gives you the time to manage your own trading. And then how many shares you want to take, right? So you can either do a static number of shares. You can do how much you want to be invested per trade. So, maybe $5,000 or something per trade. You can put that in. Or you can do based off stop loss, which again is what I highly recommend, which is basically what you're doing is saying the AI knows the entry point and the AI knows the stop loss point, and I'm just going to make it calculate how many shares to either buy or sell based off of those. So the beauty of this is that you're risking the same amount on every trade. So you're not buying, if you pick shares, for example, and you say, I want to buy 100 shares, that means you're buying 100 shares of a $1 stock, and you're also going to buy 100 shares of a $100 stock. And you can see how those are different, completely different risk profiles. So if you want to keep your risk consistent, you can do that. I find it's very easy to monitor the AI trading when your risk is consistent, because okay, every trade has a $50 risk. So if I go and I take a quick peek and it is at $100, then I know that I've made 2 times risk on that trade, and it may be something that I want to take a look at. Next is how you would like to enter. So you can enter via limit or market. I highly cannot suggest enough to enter via limit. Market can be dangerous in a fast-moving or in a liquid market. Limit makes sure that you're keeping that calm. And this is great. I see that there's a lot of questions in there, and I will get to them. And the guys that are in chat with me, don't worry too much about busting your fingers getting to them. It's good. It will keep me focused for the next hour. Next is limit reference. So do you want to reference the last price, or do you want to do something with a filter of the spread? Again, for 99.9% of people, don't overcomplicate this. You're splitting hairs for pennies. This, I would say, is more for strategies that you build your own. And then limit offset. So limit offset's kind of confusing to some people, so let's just break that down as simply as we can. Where limit offset, essentially, the more negative this number is, the more aggressive your order is. So if I'm going with a positive 10, that means on both long or short, this is long and short agnostic, it's going to try to make you 10 pennies lower, right? So, if the price is $10 a share and you're trying to buy it, it's going to say, okay, I only want to pay $9.80. And if you're selling, it says, okay, well, I only want to sell it at $10.20 for 20 cents. So it's just trying to make that order passive. If the order is negative, it's saying you want to be aggressive and how much you're willing to pay up. So I have this I think it's normally at 10 cents. I think I just clicked on it just to make it 11. But basically saying I'm willing to pay 10 cents higher than whatever Holly posted as the trade, and that's it. That's all I'm willing to pay. If it's more than that, then that's fine. I missed it. And that's just the nature of the market. And then the last is time and force. So how long do you want to keep that order out there unfilled before you say, okay, I missed it and I canceled it. Again, that's personal preference. I give it, 2-3 minutes and I say, okay, that's enough. I missed it. If it comes back at this point, I'm not really interested. So I hope that answered the setup question. Some other things that you can do. You do the same thing for short. You can do the same thing for your re-entries if you want to do re-entries, which essentially just means that if Holly entered here and it got stopped out here, so the stock kind of went like this and it got triggered and then it went like that and it got stopped out. If it's coming back up here, then what it's going to do is it's going to re-enter back into that position and put your stop somewhere in this area. So if you want to give it another try automatically, you could do that. Again, that's personal preference. And then when you're all set up, you just right click and click enable. And then all of these strategies will go live and away you go. So that is setting up the AI. Now let me go. There was a fair amount I saw there of questions. Let me just bring that up. Let's just go back over to the web and watch Holly just surfing here in action for a second. All right. Swing ideas training is okay, but I remember listening to a TI training session where one of the TI trainers shared his swing scans. Yeah, once you know the strategy name, just email that into info@trade-ideas.com and we'll find out who the owner of that scan was and we'll grab it. Ideally, what you should be doing, though, is you should be saying, okay, I really like that scan. Let me learn how to build it myself. So, I'll have that knowledge kind of going forward. I'm a new user here. Is there a simple way to get into Alert so you want an 8-day SMA to cross a 20-day SMA? And that's what you want to use for your entry. Okay, we'll look at that in just 1 second, Martin. So Bert, if I set a stop loss to $100, is any way to set a max? So basically you want to, Bert wants to set a maximum amount that Holly will lose per day. So there's no way to do that at this time. Again, we always suggest that anyone, auto trading or not, watches it, and then you can have a chance to kill it if and when something like that occurs. And then before we get to Martin, because there is no simple way, but I will show you a complex way. Sorry. Is the re-entry off the stop loss or the original entry? It's actually between. It's a point that Holly decides between the original entry and the stop loss. So it's between your two options there. So okay, so I'm gonna do something here where I'm gonna switch this over for just 1 quick second, and I'm gonna go to tradeaideas.com, and I'm going to show you the formal analysis. Okay, so Bert's saying he doesn't want Holly to invest all of his account. So again, at this time, there's no way. Holly doesn't know the size of your account. So again, you should just limit that yourself. Pick however many trades you want it to have, and then when it gets to that point, just turn it off for the day. So we're going to open up this, and we're going to open up this, and we'll just edit. What am I not using right now? This one. All right, so back to here. Okay, Martin. So you are looking to build a custom formula that says you want to know when the 8-period MA and the 20-period MA is close. So I can send you a video on this too if you email into info at trade-ideas.com and just ask for Mike and say you were going to give me a custom webinar video. But if you go under your account on the Trade Ideas website, you'll see an area that talks about symbol lists, or no, sorry, custom formulas right here. When you get here, what you'll do, okay, Martin, I see you there, but I'll just show you the basic one. You can kind of go from there. So what you'll do from there is you'll see, let's go back. It basically looks like this, but yours probably won't have anything in it. And then you'll see that there's two little areas here. There's the filter codes and this help file. I suggest opening both of those up, and then you'll probably see a button that says new, and just click new right there. And what we'll, let's just, I have to modify something I'm not using. There we go. So when you click new, you'll get a little box like this. And this is where you can put in source code. And don't worry, I'm not a coder, so if I can understand this, you guys can get it too. But this is how you'll just kind of modify the system to say, okay, I want to build something that's not in the system. So you can modify any of the codes that you see here, which is a bunch, and then any of the codes that you find in this PDF, which is a bunch. So here's kind of where the moving averages are. So you can take a look what we have for daily moving averages. And right now we have the 20 and the 200 that you like, but we don't have the 8. So you may need to find an intraday moving, like find one of these like 60 periods or something that is close to what it is that you're looking for, or you can get real fancy with it and try to find the distance from this. But I don't want this to be super, super heavy because I'll lose most people who aren't interested. But you could take change from the 8-day SMA, and then you would need to back out to find this, what the 8-day SMA number is. But let's just do something simple just to get you started. Let's say I wanted to take the 60 period 20, which is probably close. I'll put that in, and then I wanted to subtract the value of that from the daily period 20. And I wanted to do that here as well. And then in the box below, you essentially just name it. So I'm just going to call this 60 period 20 MA versus 200 MA. And this will be in dollars, and you click save, and you see saved up here. If it says partially saved or failed or anything like that, it means your coding's a bit wrong. Again, just take your time and look through this, and when you email in, I'll send you those videos which are a little bit more detailed on that. And then as soon as you do that, you can, let's open up a top list. You'll see that in your trade ideas, it just updated. So if I just type in under the search bar, there it is right there, right? The 60 period 20 versus the 200. So if I add this in as a filter and I say, I want this number to be really small. So let's just say 25 cents. So I want those two moving averages to be really close to each other, for them to be within 25 cents. And I'll just go sort, and let's just sort by price for now, and we'll go okay. And then we've just built a top list that will scan for when those two moving averages are fairly close to one another. And I don't know how well these will work this day, but what I have behind my Brokerage Plus, these are my nighttime scans, and all of these, before everyone asks to share them, but all of these are built with custom formulas the way I showed there. So for example, this scan is looking for stocks that are having inside days, right? So the high of today is lower than the high of yesterday, and the low of yesterday is higher than the low of today, right? So it's an inside day. And then I have this one that's basically looking for, that's a really bad example, it must be a buyout, stocks that are developing doji candles yesterday and doji candles today, because that's just the way I trade. I'm a candlestick trader for a short-term entry, and then using traditional setups for long-term, right? So I've got one here for hammers, right? It's looking for candles that are building hammers, and one here for topping tails, which doesn't appear to be working right now. I'll have to take a look at that later. So yeah, you can do a lot with customs, but start with the base product, play with that for a while. If you want to get kind of real into it, you can get into it from there. All right, so I'll finish up with Martin, and then I'll take a look at JF. Very nice. Does this formula edit accept common mathematical terms and or Boolean? So you see, you're already talking way outside my wheelhouse, but it uses, I know, C# as kind of the intro code, and you can see here all of the operators that it allows. So it seems like you're going to be one of those that that understands it way more than I do. So those are the codes right there. All right, so JF symbol lists in TI desktop. You can't edit my holdings and my liked, but from your account on the web you can edit them. Can we modify the list from there? For those, I wouldn't really. So what? Let's do this. What JF is talking about is these lists here. So there's some. These are the ones that I kind of built. I think everything from here under, but there's my holdings and my liked. So what these are, and the reason we don't allow them edited in the actual desktop version, is my holdings pulls from Brokerage Plus. So for example, if you wanted to see, your holdings, it will pull from your kind of positions window here and say, these are the things that you hold, right? And what my liked does is we have a little button. Let me actually find something that I may actually like. Where was it? There was one thing that would have triggered Sean because it was a cheap stock, but it actually looks interesting for tomorrow. We have this little heart button right over here. And if you just click this heart button, what this does is this populates a symbol list in the back end. Oh, I'm on a different screen over here. There we go. So this little button this little heart right here, if I click on this, it will, when it's filled in, it will go to my liked, which is that symbol list in the back end that just highlights things that you like. So this is a good way to make a kind of a watch list on the fly. If you want to go through and say, okay, this is a stock that I'm interested in, and this is a stock that I'm interested in, and I just want to build this list, you can start by doing that simply, just by clicking every time you click the heart. So if you want to get rid of it from a list, you can just go through and click on the list and just get rid of the heart. See, these are ones that I put up here a while ago, and they're no longer relevant to me. So let me just get rid of them. Is there a quick way to clear the list? Yeah, you can clear it quickly if you go to here and just click on edit and then delete all of them like that and then update the list. You can do that if you have a big list and get rid of it, but mostly my liked is more to do with just, I'm going to pick a few symbols that I'm scanning through and I think may be interesting for tomorrow, and then I'm going to add them on and then take them off later. You can do more advanced things with that. You can use auto trading for with symbol lists, which is something that I do frequently. I do Brokerage Plus here. I have a lot of these that are pointed to symbol lists where I have a strategy that trades. It sits out the first 5 minutes of the day and it needs some criteria to trade. And then I point this to a symbol list where the only symbols that I put into this list are going to get auto traded by the AI. or sorry, not by the AI, by Brokerage Plus. So what I do is I set up all of these the night before, and I say, trade these if and when these things occur, and then I can just tell Brokerage Plus to watch them for me, and it will put on, it'll say, okay, we'll do that for you, and I'll trade them only if and when these things occurs. So it's like building a watch list to be auto traded the next day, which right now is my favorite way to trade. One more question. Any plans to allow search since IPO date? Not right now, but that's actually a really good idea. I'm gonna write that down and send that as an idea for a filter. That'd be interesting. Because we've been doing a lot with anchored VWAP, and I do have one thing to show you guys, which is a new feature if we have time. But I know, what was it that we were? Was it Piton? That looked very interesting, where if you anchored a VWAP from the IPO date, it held very well. When it was under it, it held under it well, and then when it came back over it, it held over it well, and then it had a big fight here, and then finally broke through. So I actually took a short here, I think 2 days ago, and you can see my little buy ticket. I covered that today. Hi there, how to find reversals. I think Danny may have asked that question yesterday. So then the question remains, what do you define as a reversal, right? Are you a day trader? Are you a swing trader? Are you a candlestick trader? Are you a VWAP trader? Are you a big fan of moving averages, Bollinger Bands, right? It's about what it is that you want to see as a trader. It's maybe show him my 15-minute consecutive. Okay. So I do have one. I'll have no idea whether or not this will be suited for you, but I have something that I call just 15s, where what this is looking for is essentially a consecutive amount of 15-minute candles up. So let's just do it on the big chart for you guys. And let's turn this to a 15-minute candle. And what it's doing is it's basically counting, and it's saying, okay, NCYB, and this would be a interesting market for this, but you can see NCYB is up 7 15-minute candles in a row. So if it's like, what's my favorite reversal scan, it's probably this one, because it's, how many times do you see 10, say 15-minute candles just straight up in a row like that? Some people will like topping tails, and some people will like reversals. Some people like distance from VWAP, right? So it's really kind of whatever you want. So Danny, if you want to email in if there was something that you saw particularly, we can take a look at that. If not, I would just suggest going and taking a look at the Trade Ideas University, where we teach you to search for whatever filters that you want, depending on what your trading plan allows, right? So Michael's saying reversals are search for alert. If you want an alert, so what I've actually done, so this is the top list. So this is just going to refresh every 30 seconds, and it's going to tell me which of these are interesting. And the way I trade them, if you guys are interested, is basically I look for stuff like ZM here would be very interesting to me, because you can see the stock was weak early and then popped higher. I think, trying to buy tops and sell bottoms, I think in the long run, that's probably a losing game. I haven't seen anyone do that consistently forever. But for example, here you can see that there's a fair amount of resistance overhead, and we had this breakdown, and then we've had 6 candles up in a row. And then again, as a candlestick analysis nerd, you see this tweezer top, which essentially just means the market tried twice to push it up into this area, and it got rejected. So what I would do is take a look for and say, okay, well, if it breaks this trend line, or if it breaks a 15-minute candle's low, I may take a short here and then just put my stop right above this area right here. So if we were to take a short here, what's it, 102.46, that might be an interesting trade. But what I've done is I've built this into an alert window. And during really slow markets, I'll trade this. Reverse 15s. Where it essentially looks for a topping tail after consecutive 15-minute candles. That's on a 10-minute. Let's change that. I hope my keyboard's not too loud. I'm a mechanical keyboard nerd, so I need them. So yeah, so NTRA would have triggered right here when there was a 15-minute topping tail. And you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. And then it reversed right here. Now, let's bring this up and take a look at what the daily looks like on the bottom. So this may be interesting to me because it's a bit overextended on the daily and the weekly. But again, in a past life, I used to try to be a top picker and a bottom ticker, and I went through and reviewed like an hour or so of trading, a year or so of trading, and found that my revision to the mean trades, in net cost me, and my trend following trades were the ones that made all the money. So I'm in rehab, I guess, for revision to the mean type trades. I'm trying to get away from that as much as possible. Martin says, how about consecutive candles and increasing volume? Not at this time. We don't have the way to track volume kind of candle to candle. But what you could do is you could say, so here's all the ones that happened today of this particular one. If you only wanted to see things that had high volume in this 15-minute candle, we have what we call volume percentages. And what this does is it compares the volume today to the volume most days. So you could just say, I want, say 100%, or not, that'd be 100 times. Say 200% normal volume. And then what it will do is it will filter the same list down and say, okay, I want the same setup. You can see how few there are in comparison, but you can say, I only want things that are doing double the normal volume. But again, if we're just sitting here shooting the shit and talking trading, especially for new traders or struggling traders or traders that are not profitable yet, and again, from someone who used to do this a lot and got in trouble doing it a lot, is stop trying to pick tops and bottoms. I'd say that'd be the first big thing that I would suggest to any new trader. Just don't. And there's science behind that. And because there's no questions right now, I'll nerd you guys out with science. But if you remember your normal distribution curve from stats class, right? Basically, you've got this normal distribution curve, and then we think that, one standard deviation, 68% of all occurrences takes place, 2 standard deviations, I think it's 98 point something, it's most. Someone will correct me. If the market was a mean reverting mechanism, then you would see it would be normally distributed like this. But what we've noticed in the markets, and this has been studied ad nauseum, is that the market has what they call fat tails. So it means that these extremities where things aren't supposed to happen very often happen way more than people think. And this is actually the power when it comes mathematically to trend trading, is that, again, if a market was random, you would see a lot more stocks popping up and then reversing, or dropping and popping back up, right? Would be a pretty consistent thing, but we've noticed that more often than it should, mathematically, trends continue, right? So step one, if anyone's like, what's the first thing I do to put statistics on my side? I say, start following the trend, right? And define a trend based off what your time frame is. But that's kind of the first and easiest step, I would say, to make sure you don't get killed. I think the ego of trying to pick tops and bottoms, I think that's a big thing. Is that we say, I want to be the guy. This thing's right. Space SPCE. And I still get the inkling as well, right? I see this thing going from $20 to $40, and I say, this is nuts. It's going to have to pull back, and it may. But again, just the statistics are on our side to say more of a continuation is probable than less, right? And speaking of statistics, let's see what our AI here is up to. This TMC was a monster off the open. This is the benefit of auto trading, where you had about a minute to get into this trade before it really rocketed off and then got halted because it was moving too far too fast. That was a great one. I'm still looking at see. So yeah, this is what I was talking about with the let me go markup trend line. So where I set my alert right through here, because that's why I saw it bounce off a few times here, and I wanted to get it if it breaks through. So people ask, how do I trade the AI? That's how I trade the AI. You can see I have things sorted by the profit that's happening here. So what I do is I scan the ones that are at or near the middle of their profit area. So like CENX here is interesting to me, where essentially what this is doing is it triggered through the first bounce here, right? So triggered in through here, it came back, it held that 1620 area, and then it looks like it's pushing a little bit higher here. So I will set an alert for that, and I'll say, okay, let me know when this thing is going to pop back through here, and maybe I'll look to take it as a continuation, because just from my years of watching Holly, and I guess if you guys don't know who I am, I've been working with Trade Ideas now for 2 years. They found me because I've got this small YouTube channel where I was using their backtester to make algorithms when they were planning on building their artificial intelligence. And I just said, okay, they're like, hey, do you want to come to Trade Ideas? You can help out with some support and do all this, but mainly we want you to build and make the AI better. And because I'm an algorithmic trader by trade, I was like, this is fantastic. This is something for sure. So I build a lot of the algos that you see within Holly. So it means I get to watch very closely and I get to observe certain things. Sorry, what's my name? I didn't introduce myself. I'm going to do a little bit of self-plugging here. Don't tell the powers that be. But that's me, and that's my YouTube channel. Yeah, so I build a lot of these algos, and I found that they... When Holly gets it right, Holly gets it really right. Right? When Holly nails a good trade, that trade continues. It may drift, it may take a long time to get there, but it's, going through those motions, right? It's triggering through those. So what I do is I say, okay, what the ones that are strong, I want to keep an eye on those, but I don't want to, I'm not going to buy this stock that's already up 22% from the entry when it's up in here. But now that it's pulling back, what I may do is look at, the trend line that's kind of happening right here and just say, listen, if this breaks this trend, now I want to be alerted. So again, I'll use the price alert features and say, all right, I want to know when this thing is going to pop up over this area, and I'll just let the system do it from there. So I'm here for another 20 minutes. So the question is, is there questions and just quickly ask them if there is. It's Friday. I can stay a little bit over if things get wild, but or do you guys want to see something that I think we're allowed to show that we're working on? And the guys who are in chat can tell me if I'm about to step out of line. But I was just thinking the new top list feature might be cool to show the YouTube worlds, or not. Yeah, the single stock feature. Can you quickly talk about the difference between Holly segments? Yeah, that's kind of what I do. So I know all about them. So Holly Grail is kind of your original, right? That's what we report. That's, the tried, tested, and true. And what that is doing is it's taking all 70 algorithms that we've built and it's running them through Monte Carlo and out of sample optimization each and every night. And it's saying, okay, these are the ones that I think are performing best based off of the optimization I did, followed by the out of sample testing, and all of this. And so that's kind of the traditional one, right? The old school one. Now what 2.0 is 2.0 has the same strategies as Holly Grail, but it's using a little bit of more of aggressive mindset, right? So what you'll see in 2.0 is a little bit more aggressive. Now, 2.0 may change soon. I'm working on something in the back end. If I can get it tested and walk forward tested and out of sample tested the way I like, we may be transitioning 2.0 into something a little bit more unique. But right now you can think of it as Holly Grail, just with the risk turned up a little bit. And then Holly Neo right now is something that I kind of built from scratch. So the theory behind Holly Neo is that I want everything to be doing extreme volume to make it to Holly Neo. So Holly Neo is for the people who like to trade gaps in earnings and news events and stocks that are really moving. So what does that mean? That means there's more explosive potential in Neo, but it also means at the same time there's more risk with Neo, right? We saw today there was something that got halted. But if you take a look here, we have this, what we call the relative volume filter right here. So TWMC today is doing 77 times its normal volume, right? So that's how it got on Neo's radar. That's 77 times, right? So 7,700% normal volume. So everything that you see in Neo is going to be doing insane volume based off what it normally does. So what's going to happen is, right, the stock's going to move. It's going to move quicker. So as an auto trader, I like Neo because these stocks would be hard unless you're really sitting there and watching it all day. And mostly I'm a swing trader, right? Because I have got a lot of other things going on. The guys that trade these joke and just say it's because I'm getting old, but I like the swing time frame better. I find I make more money in the swing time frame. So it means that I'm focused on that area of the market. So everything I do on an intraday is fully automated. I've got back-tested strategies that I can show you. And before people ask, no, I cannot share this one. It's got a bunch of customs in it and all of that. But what I do is I run our back tester and I build optimized and back tested strategies, and then I run those automatically for me as intraday trading, so that I can focus. Kind of elsewhere. So those are the main difference, right? So if you're an auto trader or you're someone who really wants to be in the action, do Neo. If you're someone who just wants to go with something that we've tested way more, then I would stick with Grail. So let's keep going through. What are the success stats of the P&L, etc., of the various AIs on an ongoing basis? Problem with that is, so we post, and you can email in or hit the chat support button, and they'll give you what Grail is for trading. Problem is Neo's still pretty new, so we're not really bragging about the performance of that. It was like the end of last year that I converted Neo from what she was before to what she is now. So we need to have more of a track record before we can brag about that. But we'll get that up once we get a good track record under our belt. So I know you talked about the difference between moderate and conservative, but can you say again which one you use and why? So I use if I can be here, which again, I'm always here. So when I think I mean here, I mean within this particular virtual desktop here, and I can watch the trading going all day, I pick moderate mode. And the reason I do that is because it buys the stock, it puts the stop in place, and it says, okay, I'll close this out for you by the end of the day, in case you forget or you're not there or whatever. But then what I can do is I can move the stop around. So let me just grab something that I'm in. All right, I'm in CMPR here. So you can see my stop down here is CMPR is right at 116 and 57. So if I'm in conservative mode, I can just easily choose where I want my stop to go. So I can raise this up. We've got this neat little feature that will tell you how much you'll make or lose, plus or minus slippage, if that gets triggered. So I'll raise that up, and I could say, okay, well, CMPR is kind of basing here at 120, and then it broke through, so I want to put my stop under 120. And as we work to build Holly more and more effective when it comes to risk management, trailing stops, I may change and go conservative, but right now I go moderate just because I like to trail my own stop a little better. Can the AI make $1,000 per day? Well, nothing will make $1,000 every day consistently. But again, you can go back and see your the performance, right? Can it make $1,000 per day on average? Well, yeah, that depends on how you're trading it and what your account size is and what your risk tolerance is as a trader and an investor and all that. But anything that's profitable can make any amount of money, right? If it's profitable by 1% a year, that could equate to $1,000 a day, depending on the size of your account, right? So again, I wouldn't fixate too much on that number, but is it profitable? Yes. And if you want to know how it's done, again, you can go in and they'll send you a little P&L chart of it over the last almost 4 years now. First time here, where can I find info about the subscription and the automated tools? If you scroll down right under the video, you can see our link right to our website. So if I can't really bring that into the screen, but right below our window, there is just tradeideas.com. And then right on the top, there is a pricing and a product feature. So when it comes to pricing, we've got two plans. We've got a standard plan, which is basically allows you to build scans like this. And you can scan the market for, whatever your heart desires. And then you can actually send these orders not automatically, but by your own intervention to Brokerage Plus. There, like that. So you can scan for whatever you want, and you can send these orders that you want to through Brokerage Plus. The premium plan gives you access to the artificial intelligence, and it gives you the ability to auto trade your own stuff. Like this is an algo that I built, and I can auto trade this algo with the premium plan. And then there's a Brokerage Plus add-on if you want to auto trade the AI on top of that, right? Oh, I'm going to give a sneak peek. I do know of S&P Capital. Bella's been at a couple of our events. Yes, so let me just sneak. I've got 10 minutes, so I'm going to give you a little sneak peek here. No one yelled at me and said I couldn't, so... So here in the single stock window, if you're an old time subscriber, you may see that we've already added 2 new tabs, this news and insiders. But then we've got this other one that's going to be coming out pretty soon. So news, right, just pulls pulls in news, and it gives you, if you want to know why Plug is up this much, you can click on this. It'll open up a web browser, and away you go. Insiders, this will show you the insider buying and selling transactions. You can see, everything that's kind of come through here. This is super, super interesting to see if the guys in the know are buying or selling. And then here on the similar tab, so this is what's cool and new. So right now we're looking at Plug, and what we can do is we can pop out this little top list here, and then let's just freeze it for now. So what it did is it grabbed by price, an algo that we're creating to find things of similar price or similar price action, right? So if we want to take a look here, you can see that we've got SIL, and it's got that same kind of push up, and it's down on the day, right? This PWLF, the same kind of push up. And again, this is still being tested. It's still, we're still working on it. But here are all the things that are similar in terms of our algorithmic price action to the stock that we're looking at. And if we go into view mode, we can either say we want it by price action or we want competitors. So we're here in SLP, and and let's just pop this out, and we'll just freeze it for now. So say we're here and we're like, okay, I want to know SLP had a nice push up. Is maybe there's some competitors that haven't done it yet. We're looking for what's called sympathy plays in trading, right? If Coke gets a push up, and then we want to find, okay, what could move with Coke? What could drug higher because Coke is moving up? We can then kind of go through this list and say, okay, these are stocks that are in the same type of sector, in the same type of area, and then we figure that out as well. So it's this cool, and it's early beta, and we're looking to find ways to improve it. But I'm very excited for the price side of things. When we get the price kind of really nailed down, and we say, okay, you find a stock that you like, say I really like, I don't know, what was it, AYE, and then if I really like that, well, then maybe I want to look at, maybe I don't want to buy this one, but maybe what I want to do is I want to find stocks that look just like this, and maybe there's a better option to find, something that makes a little more sense. Maybe something where the price action is good, but then at the same time it has more volume or something like that. So again, will be coming soon to a beta near you. Still some things to get worked out, and we will of course figure those out. We're always building those. What is the shaded area? So this here is basically a smart stop and a smart target area, and this will have to do, sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not, depending on the size of your chart. But it's basically just a little algorithm that we've created and say, if you're intraday trading AEY, we think that this may be a logical place for a target or a stop, and then we need to find something that's down a bit to actually see the target. And this is what we think is a possible target. So these are just little suggestions that we put in there and say, listen, we've done a bit of math on this, and based off it's a volatility metric. So based off the volatility of the stock, we think that if you're day trading it, you may be able to get up here, and this may be kind of where a stop is. So just a little guide, right? We always want to focus on risk first and foremost. In the next build, can you add entry and exit times to the B+, similar to Holly? Yeah, that's been brought up, Damien, and I think they're working on it. I don't know what build it's going to be into, but it's definitely made it to the list for sure. And then Danny asks, is ATR important when finding stocks? Again, that's all up to your trading style, right? If you picked TWMC, I bet you TWMC, right? The ATR before this big move probably sucked, right? It was probably like, what the high here is 269 and the low is 228. So that, right, it's 40-cent ATR. But then after this, the ATR was massive. And you got to remember, ATR, like anything, is a look back, right? It's saying what was the average range each day, generally 14 days for the ATR. So if you're one that wants to find explosive moves, something like volume may be more important than ATR. But if you're someone who wants to trade calmer stocks, you don't want to trade things that are just in the news. You just want to find, normal, you trade Apple, you trade Google, you trade Tesla, you trade Microsoft. Then it may not be as important to you because those things are going to have ATR numbers that are consistent. So you may just say, if I want to trade a stock today and I want to trade it and it's going to look like it's done every other day, then ATR may be important. If your trading plan has written down that you want to trade stocks that are in the news, well, then ATR wouldn't be as important because, again, it's a look back of an average. When news comes out, that range may change dramatically. Okay, guys, any more questions? We've got a few minutes left. And again, let us know what you're thinking about these live streams versus the GoToWebinar, and whether or not this is a better format or a worse format. And the other thing is, right now, anybody who's in the chat right now who just stumbled across this, right? You're not really a subscriber. Maybe you were watching cat videos or something like that. And you found this, I'd be interested to know. I'd interested to know if the algo's picking us up or not. Do automated day trading using 5-minute chart. Our AI doesn't really look at candles or 5-minute charts. It looks at the whole breadth of the numbers and comes up with a statistical edge. Now, you can build things based off 5-minute candles if you want. If I go in, I configure the scan. I say, hey, I just, my time frame is the 5-minute, right? We've got 5-minute consolidation breakouts. We got 5-minute opening range breakouts. We got linear regression trends. We've got, all your 5-minute major candlestick patterns, right? Green bar reversals, dark cloud covers, dojis, right? So you can build whatever you like, but the beauty of our AI is that because it's running millions and millions and millions of simulations each night, it's looking at all time frames. Now, it's programmed for intraday, so it's always looking at that kind of intraday time frame. Can you add smart stop target filter to a strategy that you build? Yep. Hey Siri, stop. She's creepy. She's back there listening to me. Yeah, you can build, this will be the last question before I take off, but yeah, you can add the smart stop. If I go into any strategy here and I just say I want to edit this, and this is using under filter, I can just say smart stop. I can just click on that, and then it will use the smart stop as a smart building. Any plans to make Holly for swing trading? I think I can say this, but yes, it is high on my personal priority list, and definitely something that we're interested in looking at. It's a lot more data to crunch, so there's some back-end work that has to be done first. But yes, it's a plan, and it's something that I'm really, really excited. I told them once the back-end's ready that they're just going to send me packs of Red Bull and pizza, and I'm not going to leave my office until I have something. Because again, as a swing trader myself, it's something I would use quite a bit. So, all right, guys, that is going to be it for today. Again, every day at this time, there'll be a different voice on. Someone will come by with a different, a different look or a different mindset. The beauty of it is that we've got a bunch of traders, and they all trade their own different styles and their own different ways. So definitely come on by and take a look at what everyone else is doing. And again, if you have any questions, let us know. You can email info@trade-ideas.com. We can give you the starting course to get you going, and then take the weekend, take a look at that, and come back. And if you're interested in buying Trade Ideas and picking it up and you don't have it already, again, the link is right underneath the video description here. and away we go. So I should be back sometime next week. I don't know when, but until then, you'll have some great trainers lined up as well. Talk to you guys soon.